Hi, thanks for joining me for another video. This video is not going to be long. I'm just going to share something that's really important to highlight. I think this deserves a lot of attention. Okay, it's very important. This is to do with, and so I had something happen to me today that really brought this issue up again. I was driving and I had my sat nav on. And while I was driving, I had this download, like this intuition that I was going to need to rely on basically on my intuition to complete the journey. And I didn't really think much of it at the time. Okay. I just thought, okay, it was just one of those things that I hear, because I hear lots of things, during the day. And I just thought, okay, fair enough. Shortly thereafter, a few minutes afterwards, as I was arriving towards the location, I noticed the sat nav was directing me incorrectly. So when I came to a junction, I was meant to turn right, so I could see the place I wanted to go to, out of the corner of my eye, like in front of me, basically. And but it was telling me, the sat nav was telling me to go left instead of right. Okay, which was not right, which was incorrect. And so, okay, I thought, okay, well, that's weird. And then, so I turned right anyway. And then as I got to the next turning, it told me that it seemed to be confused. It was telling me to, the directions were mistimed, first of all, incorrectly timed, okay? But then I was told the destination would be on the right when it was on the left, okay? And then I drove into the car park, and then it told me to turn right when I parked my car. Now why is this important? This is important because as our geomagnetic field weakens due to the excursion of the geomagnetic poles and the eventual pole shift that's likely to happen in the next couple of decades, we are facing potential navigation issues, GPS failure, okay? And this is going to be something which potentially affects us on a larger scale, more so as time goes on. I'm not saying it's going to happen tomorrow, but it's definitely going to happen. I've seen it. I mean, it's been brought to my attention many times, and I'm not the only person who's spoken about it. It's one of those things that's like, that many, people who've spoken about it, who've, Ben Davidson, people who've written papers about these things, it's an obvious thing that, like, with the geomagnetic field decline, that aviation would be affected, and navigation systems would be affected, in cars, on your phones, in all sorts of areas, okay? And so, while, like, again, it wasn't a catastrophic thing that happened, I know intuitively that I was being drawn to think about that today deliberately in some way, or not deliberately. Maybe it was a synchronicity of some kind, but just something in my gut was telling me that I needed to pay attention, okay? And this isn't saying this for the sake of saying it. This is a real big safety issue for for us, okay? We need to be thinking about this very carefully. I mean, I don't want to talk about this too much, okay? But, like, again, I've had the intuition, like I've said, that this is going to affect us more and more as time goes on, and we've got to think what that would imply, what issues that could cause, like what risks are we putting the public, and this is why I've seen that there'll be more grounding of aircraft, that there'll be less flights taking, in the future we'll likely be taking less flights, okay? And also why countries are becoming a bit more isolationist and would need to become more self-reliant, okay? And that's mainly because of the fact that our trading system would possibly be affected by these changes, by these planetary changes, okay? So our trading system would be crippled, as a result of these planetary changes, potentially, okay? And this is part of the reason why things like the conflict in the Middle East are taking place right now, is so that there's a global restructuring, and also that global restructuring may also become spread into Europe and Russia and other places if we're not careful, okay? So because there are people out there who know exactly what's happening, all right? And, you know, again, there's a strategy that's been developed, and I'm not trying to blame them or any, like I said, this is not about, I'm just stating what I think is happening, and I don't know everything. But again, we haven't got time for blame. This is not the time for that. This is time for working together. But I just thought I'd share this because it's important. And I think, you know, we have to sober up a bit. Sober up is the wrong word. Sorry, forgive me, that's not the right term. I want to forgive me. I don't mean to cause offence, you know, to anyone by saying that, sober up, because I heard someone say that and it just came out of my mouth. So forgive me. We have to take it seriously. We have to really like think about when is the point at which these things are going to start really affecting things like flights. You know, all these things, and I'm sure that of course risk assessments are taking place like continuously on these things. Of course they are. Like I'm not part of that field. Like I have no idea, you know, but of course, like people take flight safety incredibly seriously. And so, of course, there are people monitoring these things. But I'm just saying, okay, just putting it out there, all right, that, again, this is something that I'm just being drawn to speak about it again, that, you know, that these things will become more and more of an issue potentially over the coming years. And this is important, not just on a practical sense, but I think it's important because it might give people some idea about why things are happening on the planet which are seemingly have no reason, or like we can't quite tell what's happening, okay? You know, seemingly have no justification, and or just seem very extreme, or just don't, you know. Again, I'm worried that I tell you what I'm worried about. I'm worried that like drastic things are going to happen by force, okay, on this planet, so that people don't get to even understand those things for themselves, okay? So that basically like we may be drawn into conflict, okay, so that people don't even get to realize what is happening. The truth won't come out in time for people's lives to be saved, okay? All right, and that's what, and I say that, and I feel like I want to, like, it's upsetting to say that, okay? I don't like saying that, all right? I don't like saying that, but I'm very concerned that that's what's going to happen, okay? That basically the rug is going to be pulled up from under people, and things are going to happen that have been strategized behind closed doors, underground, and that, you know, and people are not going to have a clue what's happening to them, you know, and they're never going to work out exactly what it is that's happening or taking place on the planet. That basically there'll be a staged event that forces people to stay landlocked or something like that, okay? That, and I don't know, do you know, and I say that, and like, gosh, by all means, it could very well be that the right information gets out at the right time, and we've got to stay optimistic about that and keep working towards that. But there's also another side. We've got to also consider, okay, what is working against that? And there is something working against that, okay? And that's a fact, all right? There is unfortunately, you know, a bit of a huge pushback on people finding out the truth about these issues, okay? And it's not, and the phenomenon are part of that pushback. The phenomenon, okay, are part of that. These entities, these watchers, you know, Greys, they're part of that, okay? So we've got to, again, this is why your attention is so important right now. We've all got to be paying more attention to things. Like, I think personally, you don't have to, and I say that you don't have to, because everybody's life is beautiful. Everybody's story matters. Why people do things, again, matters more than anything. My story, what I want, all that stuff, okay? Your story matters more than me and what I want, okay? That's what matters more than me, okay? Is who you are and where you're at, all right? And so, you know, but with that said, like, ideally, you know, like, again, if this is something that must be like a collab, like, it's not enough, okay? If you're basically, if you're waiting for the truth to come from these people, you're going to be waiting till, I mean, it's not going to happen. Like, it's just not going to happen. Okay, if you expect that, like, these people, and again, these people are great people, a lot of these people are fantastic, and everybody is beautiful, everybody is a rainbow, okay, everybody is beautiful, you know, but if you're waiting for that to come out, I would I mean, I don't see it. I don't see it. Like, I have to say, it could happen. It could happen by force, but it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen without some sort of public pressure as well. Okay, I don't think. All right, the public not because these people are evil and they're doing this out of spite. It's not because of that. Okay, these people are under a lot of pressure and a lot of influences and a lot of variables that they have to consider. Public participation in this is very important. Okay, public participation, public waking up, the public, you know, taking, like, look, or not being, but being coming to awareness of certain things, like, because again, like I said, people are busy living their lives, contributing to society, doing the best they can to raise their families, you know, doing whatever they can, you know, doing their part. Okay, it's not their fault that they don't know these things. So this is why it's important to devolve insight to them. Okay, because if they know about it, then the world can change to the extent that conflict and all these things that keep people underground, people in the armed forces and the intelligence communities underground, okay, and it's a human rights issue in itself what they go through, okay, you know, a lot is asked of these people, a lot is asked of them, okay, and we have to ask ourselves if that is really fair, okay. I don't think it is, okay, but you know, I think again, public participation is really important, really, really important. Like, the public, if we're going to get this information out so that people's lives can be, our well-being can be assured and lives saved, and, you know, and so on and so forth. If we can do that, then we would, you know, stand in good stead, okay? We would stand in good stead, you know, for, you know, again, working collaboratively, putting our heads together, using advanced technologies, using what's available to us to, you know, help so, you know, support and gather resources, strategize, you know, build bunkers, identify risk, you know, all these things like that, because the information is out there. You know, it just needs to be put together. It just needs to be put together into a implement, you know, fed into a strategy. And, you know, and that's really what's needed. So I think, you know, I think I'm going to leave it there. Okay. Again, you know, I think we got to really, like, I'm really, like, encouraging people to sort of, you know, please, you know, look into these issues, look into them. You deserve to know about them. If you don't, if it doesn't cross your path, that's not your fault. If you don't want to take it in, that's okay. That's up to you. It's up to you what you want to do, where your path takes you. It's up to you. It really is down to you. I respect everybody in that sense. But again, we've got to try, because I'm being told to tell people by God, by source, by all that is, by our friends in spirit. I'm being encouraged to share with you that, like, this is a risk to people. And that to encourage and to say that, like, the utmost priority should be the survival and well-being of all beings, okay? And so this is why I'm doing it, okay? Not for a jolly, not for attention, because believe me, this is like, I don't need the attention. I don't need the attention. I don't want an identity. I don't want praise. I don't want fame. I don't want anything like that. I'm just trying to do what I think is right. Okay. So, anyway, thanks for listening to this video if you've listened, and please look into these matters. Don't panic. We can work together. Okay. And there are ways you can start prepare individually as well. Okay. For these changes. Having awareness is one of the the fundamental thing at this moment. Like, awareness in people is really what matters right now, okay? Awareness. awareness. When you have awareness, you have what you have, then you have the insight, the information then to make good choices or informed choices about what you want to do and to going forward. Because it may be that our governments don't prepare, do anything to help us, and it's not their fault, okay, if they don't. But we can do things individually or even in communities or families to do that, okay, to relocate or just or prepare, get resources in, or just have an awareness of what's happening, okay, an awareness of it. That's really important. Having an awareness means that you can follow then a lead, like a thread that will take you to what you need in terms of your own safety, well-being and preparation. You will be guided, okay, in that sense, okay. You will have, well, again, once you're on that path, things will come across your lap which will give you the insight that you need, okay. And so I think and sort of the ways to prepare and so on and so forth. But don't panic, okay. Don't panic. Okay, don't panic. But like I said, awareness is the most important thing. Awareness. Okay, at this point, building people's awareness, raising awareness and devolving awareness, bringing awareness to people about these issues, and leaving. And again, it's up to people how they want to deal with it. Some people don't want to deal with, would not want to know more about it. That's up to them. So, and others will want to do more about it, and that's great. Okay, but people deserve a choice regardless, and that choice is not something that I believe. We got to, again, it's not people's fault that they haven't been given this choice, okay, either way, all right, it's just the way it is, okay, for various reasons. But again, there are things that we can do to change that, and, again, we've got to try, all right. So thank you for watching, and take care.